Match day 5, an amazing day for USMNTers playing in the Champions League as a record 7 of them started games. That's the most ever in a UCL match day. Cameron Carter-Vickers for Celtic, Malik Tillman and James Sands for Rangers, Weston McKennie Juventus, Josh Cohen, Maccabi Haifa, Christian Pulisic, yeah, he did it. He earned it. He played well and he got in there. And Christian Pulisic, stock is up again. Good. And finally, the guy that we're going to talk about today in Gio Reyna, who is, to me, the most beloved, the most liked, probably the most talented American player we have currently. You could argue we've ever had. He's just a delightful young man. His dad was a legend. So it all comes together. While Christian Pulisic is obviously going to be the poster boy for this World Cup, and rightfully so, and getting all the marketing, Gio Reyna is the prince. The man who would be king. I don't know why I went on Michael Caine. The man who would be king. There's no doubt about it. He is earmarked to be just that. So Gio Reyna is all of that. We love him, and we look at the World Cup, and even though he's 19, we want to put a lot on his shoulders. And I think he's ready for it. He's ready for it. He knows this is a moment for him. But the story of Gio Reyna goes much just beyond talent. It is a 2021 that was wiped off because of injuries. And he is back. He is back playing games. He's back starting games for Dortmund. He's back scoring goals. Scored a goal for the first time in 421 days. And you could see the relief as he did that in a thumping effort against Stuttgart. That was a Bundesliga goal, so he's got a Champions League goal. We're going to see this guy develop. And the question is, how does it project to the World Cup? Because now, although because of the injuries, we have all these projections and he wasn't going to be a starter, but now you've got to find a place for him to start. Alexi Lalas, guest on the Soccer OG podcast just a couple of weeks ago, saying, if he is healthy, Gio, he absolutely is starting him in the 11. I will tell you why that is also a fact. I will also tell you why I'm very concerned about the usage of Dortmund and what we have to do to make sure he's ready to play and to start and to lead the U.S. to World Cup glory. Okay, one step at a time. That's all coming up next on the Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast, currently up there with Jeff Reuter of The Athletic. We talk about this U.S. men's national team. We'll talk about the October Camp as well, which I will also discuss here shortly. And the MLS Cup playoffs, which have been fantastic. And we have 2 big games coming up on Sunday. We have an MLS Cup. Soak it all in. This has been a great year for the Showpiece event, which you can call a Showpiece event. Check out all the podcast library. More and more are checking it out all the time. And like and subscribe us here, as we will also have a lot of World Cup content and some big plans for the World Cup, which I can't let you in on just now, but the wheels are in motion. We'll get to that here shortly. So let's get back to Gio Reyna. Started the game versus Stuttgart, what he went like 67 minutes. Started the game versus Manchester City in Champions League play on Tuesday. Went 87 minutes, basically the whole game. Dortmund are through to the next round, which won't be until 2023. But, you know, I said it a while ago about Gio Reyna, and part of it's Dortmund's track record with injuries. People are always injured at that club. It's insane, especially Americans. Going back to Christian Pulisic and now Gio Reyna, it's like giving your kids to a camp and they all come back with impetigo or a missing eyeball. That would be pretty traumatic. But that's what I feel sometimes with Dortmund. Take care of our kids. It's a big responsibility. So I'm worried about them as a club, and that's been well documented. So I thought they did a really nice job bringing him back bit by bit, not rushing him, not taking him on road trips. But now they're in. And part of the reason is because they have an injury crisis. Not a crisis, but they have injury concerns, notably Marco Reus, who would probably be starting there. So they're giving the keys to the team to the kids. And by the way, Dortmund should not have to have one iota of concern about. They should, but they've really got to focus on their own club, not worry about their players going for the World Cup. They're thrilled for their players, but they're not supposed to be dealing with kid gloves for the benefit of a USMNT. By the way, More and more players get injured, whether it's a serious injury or not so serious injury, and we're seeing them cry. And we haven't seen that before. And that is a product of a Winter World Cup. When they know it's November or it's October, and anything small, because it's such a quick turnover, it could be a sprained ankle, could ruin their hopes of playing in a World Cup. It's absolutely depressing. And another reason why a Winter World Cup absolutely blows. I'm glad it's here, but I hope we never do this again. Everything about it has been bad. There's no fanfare. I feel like I'm the only person talking about it. I know I'm not. But, you turn on TV, you don't see World Cup publicity or this. You see the occasional publicity ad, but this has been dire. And if you think it's bad in the States and North America, I tell you, in Europe, they are really pissed because it's just stopped everything. Everything stops and they pick up, and these poor players, man, they finish the World Cup, lift the trophy, get back to your club. Wait, no weekend in Ibiza? Not this time. Usually you had like a month off to go there, but it's really disappointing. We're going to see more of these tears, which is just awful. And I hope it doesn't happen with Gio Reyna. That was a segue, but you feel a little bad about a segue when you're dealing about injuries. But he's hitting some thresholds. We mentioned the goal, the first time in forever. He's now had 4 Champions League games, 6 Bundesliga games here. That's a nice total. He's started back-to-back games for club or country for the first time since August of last year. And it's great. Scoring goals. Looks fantastic. Makes incredible plays. And you can see why you want him on the USMNT. But I am certainly concerned because of the history. And I know he's pressing. And what I told you about the World Cup being so close, that's in Gio's head. That's in every player's head. But it's certainly in a guy like Gio Reyna's head. Who knows? Any little tweak, any bad tackle comes in, it's over. And it's not fair. It's not fair, but we have to deal with it. And I know you can see it on Gio's face, but he's done it. He's answered the bell well. But Borussia Dortmund, this is insane. It's 25 days. Is the moment I record this. There's 25 days to the World Cup. And there are 5 Dortmund games on the schedule. Saturday, league game at Eintracht. Next November the 2nd, I think it's a Tuesday, they take on Copenhagen in the Champions League. I would hope Gio rests that game because Dortmund are through. They still have something to play for, I think. But again, they're thinned out. There's Matthias Wolf and several other guys that are not available. They're thinned out midfield and attacking options. And look, you can't give it any younger because Gio Reyna at 19 is not even the youngest player on that team. Youssoufa Moukoko is 17. Jude Bellingham is a kid. You have Julian Brandt and a bunch of kids. So they've handed it off to them. So Gio Reyna is not like, oh, he's the youngest one here. He's not. He's not at the kids' table anymore. All right, so you have Copenhagen, November the 2nd. Following weekend, you host Bochum in Champions League play. Travel to Wolfsburg on November the 8th, in midweek, and then finish it, was it by Mönchengladbach, Borussia Mönchengladbach, November the 11th. So 5 games in, wait, let's see, that's pretty startling. That's 5 games in 15 days, because then you have 9 days to the beginning of the World Cup. So 5 games in 15 days for Dortmund. There's no way Gio Reyna can play it. I hope Dortmund's plans are not playing him. So let's go. That's 90, 180, 270. That's 450 minutes of football. I would like to see Gio Reyna play 50 minutes. I know that's impossible. I want him to play as little as possible without taking completely off the boil. So let's say 1 start. It's not going to happen. Let's say 200 minutes. 200 minutes. I'm setting the over-under at like 300 minutes. I hope it doesn't go over. I worry that it might, because Dortmund have done a complete 180 to how they handle Gio Reyna out of necessity. And it also brings up a very interesting conversation about how much rest should you have, what's too much out of action, and how much is too much. And a lot of these teams in Germany and England, Champions League teams, are going to be playing multiple games. The best one is Matt Turner, because he's a goalkeeper, so he's not running. But I think we saw now he still has 3 games remaining that he would play in Europa League and cup action, which is perfect. Matt Turner is the sweet spot. Gio Reyna, I don't know. I want him in bubble wrap. I really do. Because as Alexi pointed out, and I would say, he has to start because some things have come up that are of major concern. Number one is set pieces. Christian Pulisic takes our set pieces. It's not his thing. It's not his forte. The only time he really scored off set pieces that I can recall was off the foot of Kellyn Acosta. Kellyn Acosta's not going to start. He might play a couple games, 15, 20, a grand total of 30 minutes. If that. Kellyn Acosta is going to be an emergency midfielder fill-in. Maybe he plays a little bit more than that. It depends on the health of the guys in front. Now, the midfield has always been. Now, the front, I'm going Pulisic, Weah, and Ricardo Pepi. I don't want to give you too much of the lineup. But the midfield always was going to be Adams, Musa, and Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie got a goal, and he's an aerial threat, and it's good. But how do you get Gio Reyna in there? And I think you play him behind that front three. Because Weah is the vertical guy. Pulisic is Pulisic. And you're not going to play one of those guys at striker. So Weston McKennie now becomes a bit of a sub. I think you need Musa Adams, and you protect Reyna with those two a little better. So that's what I'm going for. I know it's a tough decision, but this World Cup, it's all tough decisions. Think about the guys aren't making it. And by the way, as I said before, not everyone gets to play or make a World Cup. Everyone on social media keeps going, I can't believe so-and-so. We'll talk about it. Not everyone gets to play. And why is everybody so distraught about every single case? This is not a new phenomenon. Millions and millions of players have not been able to play in a World Cup. That's the way it goes. Some are right on the cusp and they make it, but we can't lose sleep on it. We need a good set piece taker. If I take McKennie out, that's an issue, but our center backs can score goals. We're going to win set pieces. Weah's going to pick up set pieces. Pulisic, that is his thing, picking up set pieces. We need someone who can take it. It's not Christian Pulisic. So this becomes an easier decision for Greg Berhalter if Gio Reyna is healthy. The question is, can he get there? I'm hoping he can. And look, I say protect him. I've said before that I'm preparing for a World Cup without Gio Reyna. I'm not trying to be sinister with that. The record of injuries, it'll be a pleasant surprise if he does. I'm still assuming he's not there. If I get up November 21st and he's there, fantastic. But right now, based on everything we've seen, just standing pat, hoping for the best. Quick thought about the October camp, the camp that's been criticized a fair bit. Greg Berhalter obviously knew that a lot of MLS players were going to be out of season, needs them to keep in good fitness. This is going to take place October the 25th through November the 6th, so right now. This was a list by and large. It's a combination of under 20 players and guys that are going to the World Cup. Walker Zimmerman, Aaron Long, DeAndre Yedlin are going to go to the World Cup. Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris, possibly. Jesus Ferreira is going to go. Christian Roldan, possibly. I doubt it. And then you have Kellyn Acosta and Sean Johnson, who probably are going to join them. They're still playing their MLS calendar. And if their teams are still playing, then there's no need for the camp. Got a lot of some younger players, Caleb Wiley, John Tolkien, Shaq Moore is like the one hybrid who maybe could still make the World Cup roster. Who's on there? Cade Cowell, young player to see, going to make a big European move here. Said hello to him at the El Tráfico game. Then you have Nikos Sakiris, Aiden Morris, Jackson Hopkins. It's good for these under 20s. It's not a throwaway of a camp. Again, these players, you want them to have some games between now and the World Cup. Not too many. And as we said before, if we're the freshest team in the World Cup, so be it. We won't be. So a lot of criticism, as I said. No Brandon Vasquez, no Georgi Mihalovic, the guys that Greg Berhalter said, you're not getting invited here if you're not going to the World Cup. And obviously not everyone here. Gaga Slonina's on there. Not everyone here is going to make the World Cup. But a lot of these guys, it benefits John Tolkien or Caleb Wiley and probably Shaq Moore because they're MLS-based. Brandon Vasquez is not going to make it. It's tough. Georgi Mihalovic. People crying over Georgi Mihalovic not making it. I love Georgi, but he should have a vacation and he's going to AZ Alkmaar in the Dutch league next season. So he's ready for that transition. He's been told he's not going to the World Cup. He said as much in an interview with Canadian television. Everyone's like, look, Georgie's great, but he was never in the mix. I think one thing we could say this about Greg Berhalter, we know what the roster is going to look like. He's not going to surprise us. He hasn't surprised us. He has incorporated players here and there. Maybe how many guys have jumped into this squad the last 4 or 5 months? Luca Della Torre maybe many, many months ago. Joe Scally kind of getting in there, but he's kind of going with the core that he built in 2021 and through World Cup qualifying. So at least he's consistent on that front. He's not going to go, hey, guess what? Brandon Vasquez is in the World Cup. He's done a good job incorporating. Greg Berhalter has his criticisms, and we'll see them hopefully minimized at the World Cup, or they could be magnified. But he has brought these teams along. We're gonna have this argument at the World Cup as who made it. I know it's gonna be about Aaron Long and Jesus Ferreira. By the way, Jesus Ferreira's maybe he shouldn't start at number 9. I don't think he will. But how could you say that he's not worthy to be on this team? It's crazy. It's crazy. He's the best young player in the league. Yeah, it's not the Premier League, but he's the best young player in Major League Soccer, according to the voters. I'd put him in maybe 2 or 3. But we shouldn't be arguing about 24, 25, 26. We're a couple of weeks from the World Cup, let's focus on Gio Reyna and these guys. So I know we're going to have that discussion, but let's move forward. And the criticism is going to be there, whatever happens. Are there these players that should make, or there's some players not making the World Cup that should be ahead of some making the World Cup? Absolutely. It's not a perfect situation. As Alexi always say, it's not a meritocracy. You're finding the team that you feel is best equipped to get results. So the October camp, while not perfect, will serve a purpose. Gio Reyna, cross our fingers. Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Like and subscribe us here. Plenty of great content coming your way. Love to be with you as much as possible.